Hi guys, Zane Schmahl here from the Trans Baviaans. This is the TransTalk podcast show, episode number 6. We are sitting at Schmahl at the moment. This is checkpoint 3 in the race. I'm joined with Harald and Zumpt, that's been with us all day in the car and chatting about all the great things about this race. Schmahl is actually to the back or to the front of us, to the back of the cameras, where all the action happens in the race with this checkpoint. And it's also just to my left here is where the Langwater crossing is, what we call Langwater. And yeah, it's getting hot now. We at around midday, and it's a nice sunny summer's day. It might be different in the race, you never know. But it normally is quite hot here, Harold, when you guys get rolling here in the race.
Yeah, it's typically late afternoon, but it's still quite warm. And yeah, this is a point where you've got to refuel, rehydrate, and fuel up what's to come, because the second half is probably the harder part of the race and the more taxing of the race. You've already done 123 kilometers. So yeah, you're well into the race now. You've spent quite a few hours in the saddle. And yeah, refueling is something you need to think about.
So let's dive into that. On the Polar Watch, there's a unique feature to help you with sustaining your refueling. How does that work, and what is the science? What do you typically need to sustain a ride like this? What's your intake matching your output? How does that maths work?
Yeah, it's called a feature called FuelWise, which is essentially related to your exercise intensity via your heart rate. And the understanding is typically the higher the exercise intensity, the greater the need for carbs. And FuelWise is actually what we call smart carbs. It'll give you an initial recommendation based on the duration you're planning to ride, your planned intensity, your planned heart rate zone, and then also your planned portion of carbohydrate. And what I mean by that, what is in your gel, how many grams of carbs do you typically have in your gels, your energy drink, and any other food that you might take in. So to give you an example, if we take sort of an 80 kilogram male over 12 hours, you're probably looking at close to 600 grams of carbs over those 12 hours. So that's about 50 grams every hour. And if you think of that, well, one of these typical gels, one of these goo gels has anywhere between 20 to 25 grams of carbs. So if you do the quick maths, you have to carry 24 of these. But obviously
for the whole race.
For the whole race, for the 12 hours that you possibly plan to be out there. If you're longer, then it's going to be more. So that's not really practical. And in the earlier episodes, we discussed the boxes and the crates that you would put extra energy replacement in, your extra gels, your energy drink, that type of thing. And really what FuelWise is all about, and the reason we call it smart carbs, is that if your intensity changes, let's say your heart rate is higher because it's warmer today, you have to thermoregulate more, so you have a higher heart rate typically, you'll start needing more carbs, and then it'll adjust that recommendation and obviously give you warnings throughout the event and reminders when to take those carbs in, together with a drinks reminder that you can also set up. So for us, it is more an indication initially how much to take with you and make sure you have enough that you are taking with you, and also to plan ahead again to see what is available at the checkpoints as far as other food is concerned, because I don't know about you, but I typically, although these gels are very good, you typically can't take in 24 gels consistently through the race. I mean, you have obviously a liquid version as well, which doesn't require as much water. It's quite practical, but you'll see it is a far bigger gel as well. So you also got to consider that in your packing and what you're taking with you. And then you obviously also have your drink mix that you have, and also a good idea to look at what you're going to take per hour here and the grams of carbs you've got in there, and put that all together to make sure that you have enough fuel on board to get to the finish. But as we've said, we have these checkpoints along the way with some good food.
Yeah, I think we've received many compliments about our food offering for the Trans Baviaans, and I'll run you through the quick menu to help you prepare for the race, to know what's happening and what you're going to be receiving. So checkpoint 1 is at 52 kilometers in the race. It's not a checkpoint where you'll get your token stamped. or a sticker, but it's a food point. You get Rooster Cook there, made by Veronica and them from Vero's. So Rooster Cook, and then your normal drinks is available, water, and then we'll have goo drinks, Coke, that sort of thing is available at Vero's. And then from there you roll on to Zandvlakte, which is now CP2, which is at about 98 k's in the race. It's your first point where you'll be able to where you need to get your token stamped, and it's also the first point where you'll be able to get your crate, your box, to get some of your own supplies. But also at this point, we have more lighter food. There's boiled potatoes. There's a lot of sweet type stuff as well. Quite a variety of different fruits and sweets and potatoes. And then from there we move on to checkpoint 3, which is Smitscroll, where we're sitting at the moment now. And this is it's where you need to get that proper meal in, like you just said as well. And we're very fortunate to work here with David and Ankia Smit, who are local farmers in the Baviaans Kloof. And actually an interesting fact about this spot here, it's called Smitscroll because it was the original Smith's farm. And I think David's grandfather used to farm here. So they come every year and they cook societies, Vors. I think a lot of people know the guys shouting the societies and Vors in the pots to feed. And then they do potatoes. They also do a Rooster Cook and then the normal drinks. So we've got your Coke and water, and then also goo drinks available here at this checkpoint. So this is where you really need to just get off your bike, take a few minutes, sit, get that sustenance in, and then you head off straight here into the long water crossing, and you head up to Bergplaats, which is checkpoint 4 at 140 k's, and there you get that lovely soup. Most people will be there in the dark. It's already been chilly. The wind factor is quite chilly as well. And then we've got the guys from Jeffreys Bay that make that famous soup and some bread rolls that you go with the soup. And that's a really good thing because most people struggle to stomach proper food at that point, and soup has got a really good nutritional value, and you can have that there. And then from there you drop down the Big Dipper to CP5, which is at the Hadley Pack Shed, and there we do chips, actually just some good old-fashioned chips, slap chips, and with lots of salt, and it really works well. And then from there you go past checkpoint 6, obviously, which is the unmanned checkpoint, and then checkpoint 7, which is at Zierbron, where the famous jaffles are. And those jaffles are the one that takes you home to Jeffreys Bay. That's what everybody says. And then from there, you roll on through to the finish and J-Bay. And that's our menu en route that you could look forward to and plan and work it out accordingly, and what you can expect from us on the race day. And I think that...
I think if I can just chip in here, Zane, I think the important part is I've seen quite a few riders skip the first checkpoint and ride straight through because you don't need to get a token there, and not fueling up at that point. And I think it's quite important to be consistent in your fueling, start fueling as early as possible. And the other aspect to this, again, we come back and harp on this point again in your preparation to make sure that you practice. In your preparation, you make sure you take some gels on your long, slow rides over the weekends to make sure that you actually can stomach the nutrition you are using and not wait till race day for that to happen. And then the other aspect with the checkpoints, obviously, you don't want to spend too much time there because you can very quickly accumulate a lot of extra time in the race. You obviously want to make sure you get what you need, but you don't want to spend too much time there. It's very entertaining in some places. You want to sit around a fire at night and stay warm. Possibly not too long.
No, definitely. That's it. And that's episode 6 from us, guys. We're moving on further down the route, and we'll see you on the Mac, I think is our next episode.
That's it, yeah.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
See you later. Bye.